Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. Mm, 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 mm. Ah, welcome everybody, man. Welcome to your boy King Crowder Sunday wrap up crew, man. Sunday, let's just talk about things going on this week, man. I want to thank everybody that did show up, had the time to enjoy the Sunday wrap up. This is officially live number 5, y'all. It's truly a blessing, an honor to be here. It is truly to talk about things, because I do believe the things we discuss from a historical, current, and a fun perspective all need to be discussed. All right, let's tap in. First thing I think I need to talk about this week, y'all, is that if you have not known, this summer, fall summer, will officially be the 50th year celebration of hip hop in America. What most people do not realize is that hip hop did not officially start in New York City. It did not. Hip hop roots, origin, and start place was in North Carolina, the Carolinas. The reason why I can prove this the most is that if you look at it from a historical perspective, the Great Migration is one of the historical markers, and when Jim Crow South was so horrible, many black Americans chose to migrate and go to a bigger city known as urbanization. Urbanization is when small town community, specifically black Americans, left to go to the big cities to seek employment, insurance, and better opportunities. So a lot of the times when you see our metropolitan cities, I always like to emphasize the Chicago's, the Detroits, the New York, all of those uptown northern cities, or even LA in the West, they are a generation or two removed from being from their ancestral place. No black American in this country is originally from New York City. No, unless you're from an immigrant background where you came from this country, your roots are in the Carolinas, the South Carolina, the North Carolina, the Virginias, or further down south. If you're from Chicago, your roots are from Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas. The reason why I know this is such an accurate rate, look at the train lines. If you ever read the book Woman of the Sun by Ida B. Wells, she speaks with over 100 generations of black Americans that chose to migrate to different parts of the city. None of us are from the larger cities. But diving back into why the hip hop topic is such a beneficial thing. The root ancestral part of hip hop is phenomenal. Hip hop in its origin was meant to be a conscious, a language of the poor, a way for artistry, and a way for symbolism to be made in art form. Remember, whenever you see the hip hop era, you must understand there are genres that overlap each other. So when hip hop had its foundation, you had the blues era, you had the rock and funk. All of those are the foundation formats for hip hop. Hip hop was not just spurned and created out of thin air. Whenever we hear that story about the origin of hip hop, we hear the Cooler Herc, the DJ. That's not true. Think about all of those music forms that had to be there already at its ancestry for how it was performing. And when you saw how hip hop is being developed, you can see from a historical format again. If you look at the origin of it, you can look at the blues, you can look at the jazz, you can look at the funk, and you begin to see the rapping and rhyming over beats taking place. That is how you get the origin of hip hop. Remember, the origin of hip hop, if you look back at it, you have the Eric B. and Rakim, the MC Ran, the KRS Ones, the hip hop sounding sounds that were anti police, political reformation, the fight the establishments, the black consciousness movement, the movement was the civil rights era. That is what the youth used to go on wax, which is what they called a turntable style at the time, to speak their rhythm form of blues. That was their way of communicating direction. That was their way of explaining what was going on. That was also their way to show who needs to be protected. So remember, around this time, you didn't have much protecting outside of your neighborhood. Most people don't know that when we see our original gangs, people that are gangs now that we call gang gang, you got to remember their origin stories were protecting units for black communities. For example, the greatest one nobody knows, Crip. You ask the dude what Crip means. It means in origin, if you ever read 2K Williams' Blood Flame, Black Rage original book, it stood for Community Resistance in Progress. Community Resistance in Progress. That was the origin of the Crip Foundation. They were meant to protect them because remember, no police used to protect the black communities. So the gangs or the extra people in the community had to stand up and fight for one another. That is where the origin story of hip hop started, began, and how its foundation. How do I know this? As you read and you self-study yourself, I'm a history guru, y'all. I love everything about history so I can kind of see where the shifts and pivot goes. And as you see the shift and pivot goes, you begin to see how hip hop was once this and now it's that. So fast forward all that time as we go through the history context that we went through, right? We are here now in the current state of hip hop. We are far removed from the civil rights era, far removed from the Black Panther era, far removed from that undertone of consciousness. Now, we still have that consciousness in some artistry, but it is not the mainstream artistry that we see this time. Now, all of our mainstream artists are more corporatized now. Corporatized meaning that they are for profit for the artist to get promoted, to make sales. That's why there's no artist development. I'm going to give you a great example using our current times. Whenever you think of hip hop artists, I want you to think about this. Most of our greatest artists do not speak. Most of our greatest artists don't give interviews. Most of our greatest artists are known strictly for he or she's music. If you are known for your antics, that tells me, as a logical, thinking-minded person, that your music is not doing well. And when your music is not doing well, you have to go rely on antics, sayings, getting on Instagram, flashing money. These are things that make you appear that you have status. But in actuality, you're not selling tickets. How artists make money. J. Cole said it, Kendrick Lamar said it, Drake said it. You have to tour. Artists that tour, look at their venues they perform in. If you can sell out a 5,000 seat venue, you are a good artist. If you are an artist that can only sell less than 200 tickets, you are a struggling artist. The artists that make standing, lasting, impactful music are the ones that we see the staying power with. I'm not going to bash on them, but I'm going to use her as an example. The artist that we know as Sexy Red currently in the lexicon right now, right? Every time I get on the internet and I see something, I see her actively promoted. I see her clip, what she's saying, a big comment she made. What I never hear is her music. What I never hear or see is her on the show selling at a 1,000 seat venue. What I see and hear all the time is her making a comment about SEX, her making some derogatory comments, her saying something inappropriate, her giving her take on something, which is okay. But the one thing that you must understand to be a lasting musical act or artist, you must have that staying power. And with that staying power, it has to be on music. I'm going to give you somebody I listen to every day. I am biased. Rod Wave. He's a big brother. I've never heard him talk like that. He's very mild-mannered. He's selling out arenas. Let me say it again. Rod Wave is selling out arenas. Nobody knows nothing about this brother. He's not sexually appealing. He's not a physique guy. He is an artist. And when your artistry speaks, people want to be captivated by your music. The personality gonna come and go. People get annoyed with shiny things and your perspective. People don't like that. But the true artistry will be supported if it is worked upon. I'm gonna give them to you now. Cole, Kendrick, Travis, Rod Wave, The Weeknd, Beyonce, Taylor Swift. Am I missing others? Those are artists that are supported due to the artistry they put in. 50 Cent dropped the album 20 years ago and he sold out a show in Denver just last week. That is artistry. We want it, we crave it. So 50 years that hip hop is here, the artistry must be shifted back to the focus. The corporate mindset and corporate infrastructure has a strong hold on it. It has to pivot back to the artistry. Profits are going to be there. People are going to make money. We know that. But we have to shift our focus back to the artistry if we want the great genre that was made by Black Americans known as hip hop to survive another 50 years. It can be done. But right now, we are way off course and we need to redirect. That is my take. Happy birthday to hip hop. Happy 50 years. On to the next topic, man. This one hurts my heart, y'all. The reason why it hurts my heart, because me and my boy Nate went to it. DJ Envy Caesar Real Estate Seminar. The reason why it's such a sensitive topic because I felt like I learned something. I felt like it was informative. I felt like it was helpful. I felt like as a person that had zero knowledge about real estate, coming from a lower income background, I wouldn't say my family was poor. We had enough. We weren't rich. We weren't established, but lower middle class. You know, barely above the poverty line. That's what we were. Me going to that seminar, I felt like I learned. I learned the basics, right? And I felt like I got my money's worth. But to hear what Caesar and Envy was doing, man. Number one, y'all. Why are you giving money to people that you have no idea their business acumen? That's the first thing. I'm not victim blaming. I'm sorry that came out that way. I'm not victim blaming. But what I am asking is that, do people not vet their sources, or just because they see them, they feel like they can just give them the money and the credibility? Because Caesar went into his background about him being locked up. Red flag to me. Brother was locked up for a financial crime. I'm not going to trust him with too much. Take his word at a minimum. I see you, bro. That was my mindset. Caesar did a financial crime. We know about it. And we knew that he had that background, that he stole some money from someone. How come that was never a red flag to anyone? Was I the only one that noticed that Caesar had a background? Number two, you don't do money in business at a conference. I get your information, I exchange with you, I do a handshake, I say thank you, sir, for that phenomenal information. But I am not going to sign up for something unless I have proof that you are equitable and you are source worthy. When do we come to that point where you give money without vetting your sources? Now, backing up again, we went to that DJ Envy Sensor Conference in 2020, height of COVID. We went to one in Las Vegas, me and my boy Nate P. We flew out there because Deontay Wilder was fighting Tyson Fury round one. That's why I remember, because it's such a vivid memory in my mind. But when we were at this event, Caesar appeared credible. DJ Envy backed him heavily. It was in the Golden Nugget. It was an outstanding day and a half meeting, and it was very resourceful. But what I could have never predicted is that Caesar would be a scammer at the rate that he is. No matter what you feel, two things to catch my eye immediately, y'all. If we know that the guy's a scammer, why is he not being excommunicated, and why is he not being forced to speak? Because if we know these financial crimes happen to people, he should not be supported at all. Number two, DJ Envy, my Hampton alumni. I love you, bro. You wrong. You endorsed that man. I don't know how that could have happened. I don't know how you didn't know, but it is a lot of gray area on what happened. We looking at these court cases. Ain't no way in the world you telling me this man touched $1 million from a client and you ain't know about it. You mean to tell me he touched $1 million and you didn't know about it? Come on, bro. Something had to be exchanged hand. You had to get him on the back end. What I'm saying is right now you are in 8 lawsuits. My goodness. I mean, 1 will get my blood pumping. But you in 8? Were you known to steal from people? So you're taking from people that work hard for their money and it does not bother you. That to me, man, is Mind blowing. I couldn't sleep at night knowing if I took from my people and did not say nothing and didn't provide an equity resource. And I see you on Instagram shining, doing shows, man, I would have to pull up to that front door. I swear to God I would. With the pistol on me. I need it. All of it. Boop, boop, bang. But for real, man, it's just, I could not imagine losing that amount of money and I see you out here living life. How could you be comfortable with that, man? I mean, I'm not saying that it was all you or who did what, but we got to know right now, man, if somebody did something and you don't get a real estate RICO put up underneath for you. A real estate RICO, if you don't know, y'all, is a multiple enterprising act where you presume theft, laundering, or stealing from multiple subjects. It has to be across interstate lines. So let me get this straight. You're stealing from people from Kansas, Florida, New Jersey, Virginia, North Carolina, DC, and Maryland. You have 7 plaintiffs on a lawsuit. Envy, you cannot say I ain't know. You can't play dumb. You can't play the fool that said I had no idea how this situation happened. That's bull job, bro. And I'm calling it early. Ain't no way your hands are that clean. Somebody knew something. Somebody had their hand in the cookie jar, period. I'm not going to sit right here and say who's the wrong hand, but we got to know as black people, man, it is wrong for you to take from people that don't have money. It is wrong for you to steal from others without their proper just due. Thank y'all for watching the channel too, man. Make sure you hit the like and comment button, subscribe to the channel. I forgot to throw it out there. I'm sorry. When I get my rants, I forget to do that, man. So all my people, make sure you do that. Let me go ahead and keep going on why this situation matters so much. People don't realize that the DJ Envy thing goes into why there is such a housing shortage right now. If you look at any market inside the United States, there was an article printed out by the Pew Research Center. There is a housing shortage in many of our cities. I reside in Houston, Texas. Me and my wife are currently looking for a home, our first time home price, doing through the process, breaking it down. And there is a severe housing shortage. Why? Because people were doing the Airbnb play, which I do not think there was nothing wrong with that at the time. But there's a reason why people's rental properties, everybody's renting. Everybody's selling to get from someone to take one to rent it out so you can use it. What that has caused right now is first-time home purchases are flat. And what's going to happen is the market will have to overcorrect each other. And when it overcorrects, first-time home buyers and new taxes will have to be put in the market share. Airbnb has caused an influx in first-time homes, rental properties, and vacant properties to be so pervasive. So right now, if you look at all the research study, this is one out of Dallas-Fort Worth right now, they have already outlawed Airbnbs, single-family homes, and non-business related communities. So if you have an Airbnb in a residential area, you can go to court for that. They are already saying that that should be a legal crime. Let's take a step back. Should it be legal for you to have an Airbnb in a residential community? I don't know. I mean, it's some gray area because I don't want people around my neighborhood partying, doing that thing. Airbnb is a travel amenity, and I get that. But right now, they are causing an unstable market, which is result in housing shortages. Housing shortages are coming literally from a lack of people, first-time millennial buyers, which is myself, I'm in that category, right? Have a trouble buying and purchasing a home they would like due to the shortage and lack thereof. Now, could we purchase a home right now if we wanted to? Of course. Do I think it's responsible to? No. Reason why it's not responsible, no first-time buyer home should be worth $300,000. That's insane. That is a second, maybe third-time home. Your first-time home should be at a reasonable acumen. So what's going to happen? I'm making a bold prediction right now. Put my money on the line. The market will overcorrect. This next election cycle, we're going to see property value, market share, and cut by half. People are going to be losing houses. There is going to be a severe shortage on business growth and what is expected to happen. That boom that we once had will have to recoup. So people will have to sell off their properties at a loss just to get back even or prevent themselves from going negative. Why is this happening? Because We saw people taking advantage of other real estate situations, i.e. the Caesar DJ Envy, people telling the courses on getting Airbnb play, i.e. our financial gurus. We're seeing it all accumulate at one time. I understand how we try to overcorrect ourselves due to the pandemic and global health crisis. But what we are seeing right now is that we are going to go in an active recession. You don't have to say it, but just look at it. Look at gas. Look at the price. Look, I went to the grocery store today, tried to buy a 2-liter. It was $2.67 for a 2-liter of Sprite. Now, I'm not an active soda drinker like that, but that's insane. That is insane. No way that some amenity that costs this much should be almost double what it cost 2 years ago. Bold prediction. Man, I want to hit this other topic. Last two I got to hit before our intermittent break, y'all. If you didn't know, again, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, yada, 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 yada. Have any of y'all seen that Maui situation? Maui has had fires, man, and they have killed over 80 to 100 people at our early reports, and a lot of the businesses and structures on there are decapitated. Man, praying for the Maui community, man, the families there. I couldn't mentally imagine myself, me living somewhere. And we had a house fire last year, y'all. You know, I always have to go personal, vulnerable. We had a house fire, me and my wife, a year ago. And a fire, man, is such an inconvenience. Number one, you can't cook. I know that sounds small, man, but you cannot cook in the house. The house is literally done. Number two, the insurance process is horrible. Horrible. Insurance people are not on your side. Their job is to minimize risks and costs they have to pay out. So as much as they try to say, you have insurance, we're going to be willing to work with you. Me and my lady, y'all, we had to fight with them people. I'm telling you, I'm getting a headache now thinking about how much fights and issues we had with them. There was an insurance battle about our electronic costs, our rental, our hotel fee, our food, lodging, and stay. They were voiding off what you could do. They were telling you your hotel limit, your accommodations, and where you can stay. So imagine if you're a resident of Maui right now. If you don't know Maui high, it costs money. I mean, you gotta have money to go out there. Straight up. Maui is expensive. You had that Maui home with your descendants and family for years. Your home is gone. Do you rebuild? Do you try to feasibly try to deal with the economic disasters going to come after time? We all know the earth is getting hotter and we have our situations. Right now, we are seeing some of these issues occur. So the people in Maui have to actively try to reestablish themselves, which is a mass fire. So that means not just them, everybody in their communities about housing, the school system, the teachers, the forestry, the workers. Half of their islands are without. Can you imagine being a resident in that community and trying to mentally shift your mindset on how to handle it? I couldn't. Our little house fire that had us out for at least 90 days was enough. 80 people, 80 homes, man. I would advise everybody just to watch it, look at it, because when you have natural disasters, if you've been through it, you physically and mentally sympathize with them. You don't feel sorry, but you feel a bit of understanding that we have a connection on dealing with that. And it's not fun. Dealing with them type of issues reminds you how far and how precious life is. This all brings us to the next point on. Always watch the news, y'all. I might not read it all the time, but I watch it. Joe Biden. He want to send $25 million to Ukraine. 25 billion with a B. B. Bruh. Uncle Joe. What? No, that's the first thing that caught on my mind. Y'all like, is he serious right now? Is he for real about sending them money again after we going? So I'm helping somebody even though I got a hole in my shoe. I'm helping you even though I'm hungry. I got to take from my reserves and savings to help you and what you got going on. Now I get it. They're trying to play the long game because if you don't, Ukraine has an abundance of natural resources. Everything is chestnut checkers. I get it. Ukraine is trying to preserve its freedom because we know that if we own that natural reserve in the EU, we will have a natural resource that will pay us back over time. I know oil is being phased out. The Ukrainians and the Middle Eastern countries do not know, but we're literally trying to get off oil. OPEC will have its influence cut in half once California switches over to cars. I know. I see the long play. But the current play, right now, I don't want to give them no money. I know that's messed up. But is it? Why do I have to continue to give me money, man? Right now, there's war. That's your problem. We struggling. Struggling right now. We are struggling in America right now. We do not have the funds to help nobody. As of right now, as we're speaking, y'all, as you look at the news article, and I'm looking at CNN, if you see that we have a money shortage, if we have recession looming, our prices are out of whack, our war, our current crimes, our current issues, why does any of that matter what they got going on right now? I'm not Ukrainian. I've never been there. I doubt I ever go visit. Why do I have to help somebody with my taxpaying dollars who does not have a relationship or understanding with me? Politically, they are isolating their people. And I'm not a super political guy. I love politics, the sport of it, because I love to understand how it works. But as far as having a strong opinion, this right here, Joe Biden, step away from it, bro. It's a lose-lose situation. I know it's the long play. I can see the long-term vision, what you're doing. But short-term right now, your people in this country need help. Like I said, I went to HEB, y'all, and I looked at the shopping list. They high. HEB is taxing. And when I'm learning, they ain't the only one. So, from a long-term perspective, y'all, historical looking, we always make chess plays what we feel that will project us onto a better path in the future. Give you a historical lesson. Richard Nixon, our former president, had something called detente, and what we did, and we repaired relationships that happened in the past. Nixon is such a great president because he established that first bond with China. China and us had a bad relationship due to our economic philosophies. We are a capitalist society. China is a communist society. Those two are like oil and water. They don't mix. Communism is a society where everyone is equal. The government controls the economic systems. Everyone has their base. Nobody goes above or beyond that. The government takes care of its people. Capitalism, they don't care. The best, the cream of the crop will rise to the top. That too gets the reward. Capitalist says it in the meaning. You must capitalize off everyone else to seek the rewards. Richard Nixon worked on to get that relationship. That's why we have a great relationship with China, where China provides our cheap labor and natural resources, and we utilize China to build on other halves. That's what makes us have a symbiotic relationship that we're currently in. That is what Joe Biden is attempting to do right now with the Ukraine. Ukraine has an abundance of natural resources. We will be trying to switch ourselves from off of oil and get off of gasoline, i.e. California, with its clean bottle initiative happening in less than 10 years. The state of California will be a gas-free environment. That is what Joe Biden is currently preparing for his long-term legacy, which I see. I see the vision down the field. But right now in this current situation, while he's thinking long-term, he's ignoring the country's short-term needs. So if he does not address the short-term needs of this country, long-term, he will not make it there because he's not thinking of his next election cycle, his next business cycle, and what he's potentially doing in his current moment. So, as we continue to wrap up on these things, I want you to think about something before we take a break and we go on to our next section. Let's go on again. 50 years of hip-hop. Corporations, we must move away from them. Right now, they're controlling the diagram way too tough. We need more small businesses, small record labels to control the sound and focus on the artistry and of the music. Number 2, DJ Envy, my Hampton alumni brother. I love you. But right now, man, something ain't smelling right. Caesar, your relationship scamming. I don't know exactly what happened, but I know it don't look right. Number 3, the housing shortages came from the Airbnb and the housing plays that was going on in our society. We see something funny going on. I'm not saying exactly how it happened, but all I'm saying is that right now, that was not the state cause, it was an effect of it. We know that overbuying of the homes, taking the environment, going for the Airbnb plays, buying up these first-time home buyers has made our interest rates and our first-time mortgage rates rise tremendously. Right now, we see the cause and the effect on this. And finally, I know Joe Biden's long-term play. We're giving to the Ukraine. We're investing in them short-term in hopes that a long-term investment will come. Sort of like Richard Nixon. Remember, Richard Nixon was the first president to establish a strong economic ties with China. If you don't know history, I advise you to read it. But before we had Nixon, there was no relationship with China. China and us were forming a relationship. Now China is our building and manufacture hub. That is why we try to keep that strong connection no matter what our economic ideologies are. We're capitalists, they're communists. Politically and economically, our ideologies differ. But we understand no matter if they differ, we understand there's a true and manufactured benefit. That is when you get that symbiotic relationship. Now that we have tagged this in, the next favor I want to hit on, y'all. I got to hit this in, man. So, again, wife been gone for a minute, y'all. About 2.5 weeks to see her peoples and family, right? And while she went to see her peoples and family, my first weekend home, I went with a group of my colleagues, work colleagues. Mind you, I'm a little bit older. And my work colleagues like 21. Now, I'm not so much old from them. You know, your boy just hit about the 3-decade mark. Shout out to the 30s and up. And while we were out, I realized that I ain't 21 no more. And I'm going to tell you when I realized it, y'all. I realized it when we went out. There are after-hour spots after the after-hour spot. So, mind you, I worked that Friday, y'all. You know, I'm working my full shift, 7 to 4. Got off work, did my thing. We went out to a bar. As we went out to a bar, we had fun. Number one, it's crazy. I don't get it why you got to pay to park, pay for entry, then pay while you go in. That makes no sense to me. If you want us to go in and have a socialized time, remove all of those barriers. Let your people enjoy the venue. Number two, the amount of guys that do not cold approach or know how to talk to women is astonishing. It was dudes that would be out, y'all. They would see a woman over there, and I could see how that lack of just talking is not normal. I mean, I'm never trying to, say, oh, you supposed to be this type of player. But there it is literally, I feel for the ladies. Guys will do the social media thing before they do it in person. So instead of you saying, hey, how you doing? My name is such and such. My name is King Crowd. I'm trying to feel you and see what you're talking about. I'm going to DM you to start a conversation. That, to me, just culturally is different. Another thing that culturally is really different, I learned immediately, y'all, is that, I grew up before we went out as fellas. We all met at one spot. We would pregame. Pregame is when you meet, socialize, talk about who you're going to get with, drink, and do things before you go out. They don't do that no more. The young boys just wanted to meet directly there. It was kind of crazy because it was like, y'all, ain't we supposed to mob out together, drink together, socialize together, have fun, talk about what you about to do? You about to get 8 numbers, you about to get 8 numbers, you about to do this. That's the point of the pregame. But it was like, nobody wanted to do that. And I kind of felt like an old guy in that moment, like, so when y'all go out, everybody just drive their own cars, everybody just meet at one spot, everybody just do this. There is no social meetup. They was like, nah, bro, we just there. I was like, God dang, bro. Am I really that old nigga now? I swear, I thought I was really that old guy because I was like, man, I remember that was like a big deal for a part of the process. Like, as a dude growing up, that was just a rite of passage. Mind you, I got brothers, man. So when we go out, we had to, get the white tee, iron that mug, make sure the crease was in it. Everybody had to get up and link together. That was a part of the brotherhood. But what I learned in that moment is that there is an age limit for women for going outside. And I'm going to say this to the ladies. You are too old to be going outside if you can have grandkids. Ooh, that hurt. You are too old to be going outside when you're supposed to be married and in your career. You are too old to be outside if the first thing you do in your conversation is you looking for a marriage or relationship. What? The young brothers don't have it wrong right there. All the women that are 30 and up and clubbing, you my age, little baby. None of these young dudes out here are my age. All these young dudes are looking to get laid. That's it. Ain't nothing out here at any of these spots but young brothers. All the professional minded brothers, my work colleagues, the people that are on their purpose are not at after hour spots unless they're on vacation. I'm going to say it again. No brothers that are on their purpose driven, are at after hour spots unless they're on vacation. So you thinking that you're going to find an adequate man ain't going to happen. It's just not. The dudes that are at these spots that do these on a regular basis do not have a productive career, do not have a standing business, are not on the purpose-driven lifestyle. And I'm not shaming those brothers. I just want to talk about the facts of it. They not. Period. You need to hear it. I need to say it. I want to be transparent about it. The brothers that are actually at the club every weekend do not have the 3 C's. Ladies, did you know 3 C's? Car, house, career. We call it career. Car, crib, and career. They don't have it. They got 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, but they don't have the 3 for 3. And if you are complaining about the men that you are meeting while you're out, it's you. You meet who you are. Anytime I meet a woman, I can tell if they're not on the same level mentally as me immediately. It doesn't take a long time. It doesn't take a whole lot of conversation. Just ask questions. Very direct questions. Purpose-driven men will ask very direct questions. What's your relationship like with your pops? I know you said you went through a bad relationship. Did you go to therapy? Did you graduate from it? What time do you normally go to work? How's your work-life balance? What is your aspiration for his family life? What was your last serious relationship? Why did that end? Those are the questions that purpose, honest, married-driven men will ask you. You know why? Because they always talk about it to each other. There are so many single, eligible, wise, married-minded men in Houston, Texas, y'all, that tell me all the time they want to meet serious, marriage-minded women. I hear about it, complain about it from the barbers, to the professional class, to the business class, to the young brothers on their aspirational goal. All of them are chasing and seeking the wives of the group. But what we have, I see, just in my little weekend outside, y'all, outside, my weekend outside, I saw a lot of our women really do go out a lot. And there's nothing wrong with going out, y'all. I'm all for it. I'm a guy that loves to have fun as well. Love it. Big social guy, big going out. But if you go out all the time and you know all the after hour spots, that ain't a good look. I'm going to say it. It ain't a good look. Look, all the marriage-minded women have a certain decorum, status, social standing way to them. Men have an innate, you know, it's like in our nose right here, like right here. You know my nose big, I get it. Make fun of me. Our noses can sense when you at a different level. And when you at a different level, you get treated differently. I'm going to say it. You get treated like a wife. And when the wives get treated a certain way, you must understand those are what men want to go after. So you see what they like. Mirror, copy, rinse, repeat. Go after it. I have to say all this to go into my second question. As we're out, we're meeting people. There was a DJ on there, not a DJ, what the guy on the mic? What's the guy on the mic that yells and talks? The MC. Brain fart. Kind of lost my train of thought. The MC was out and he asked a phenomenal question. And the MC was very good, y'all. I like to do. He had life full of energy. He was social. The music, the vibes was still going on. They had like a question hour. And during this question hour, they asked a question that I did not know was big at the time. What is a reasonable first date amount a man should spend? And y'all, I was floored. I was floored by the answers I was getting. Women were saying $300 for a first date? You mean if I meet you and I don't even know your name, I am required to have your attention and spend $300? That to me, as a guy that's out the game, again, have his lady been in there. That's crazy. Number one, if I spend that much money with you, what are we going to do next time? I got to spend 600, 1,000, 1,200. What is the reasonable amount for me to make initial contact and have a talk with you? The money amount shouldn't matter. It should be the connection amount. If I have to spend a certain amount of money with you on the first date, I'ma always, this goes in my mind, what is date 2 going to have to consist of? Date 1 for any man, I don't care what she say. Take her to ice cream. Take her to coffee. You need to do something to see what a person's mind is, man or woman, whatever. I don't care. Take them to see what their mind is, because love is all mental. Connection is all mental. If you want to learn how to connect with somebody, you have to do on a mental level before anything. And if you can't mentally connect with them to see where they are in their life, where they are on their journey emotionally, where they are in their family dynamics, none of that matters. You must learn to connect with that person on a mental level, then a spiritual connection will form. That is the reason for the long and lasting initial dates. Because you build up to the $300 anniversary dates. You build up to the 1 year going to Maui, going to Cabo. That is the reason why you do those type of things. Because if you do everything in the front end, what's going to be special on the back end? If you've been to all these places, if you're traveling all these now, what is going to be unique about your husband and wife experience? I believe, honestly, that is the reason why you should try to connect someone while you're younger. The beautiful thing you can always say is that you need someone that is experienced on the same level as you, where you can develop together, where it feels like it's uniquely your first time. If you've done everything, if you've went to all these nice restaurants, what's fresh with you? What's unique for you? What's a outlandish experience for you? The reason why the first date should be such a low investment, y'all might not even speak after that first date. The chemistry might not have been there. The compatibility, the likability, the conversation, the discourse, the political ideology, the sexual orientation, what you believe, your social economic standing. Y'all could be a complete mismatch. Why does a high overhead must be there to see if the mismatch threshold is even there? That to me was fascinating to hear the responses at this venue while they're out with us. So they were saying my first day gotta be 500. Like, as a man hearing that, you disqualified. Because you already telling me your intentions and what you are going to bring into my mental space. You are already coming in saying, I need this, not what are you giving? Because in a relationship, you have to give before you receive anything. What am I giving to this person? What am I giving to this relationship? What am I giving to my partner? That should be your outwardly leaning thing. What are you giving will proceed before any relationship lasts. The reason why all of this matters is because it's going to go into the next subject, y'all. You need a solid foundation in your relationship, because hopefully it leads to marriage one day. I pray that you all get there. I pray that everybody has an experience that we and my wife have. Waking up at 2 in the morning laughing, making pancakes. The arguing about anime even though I know nothing about it. The fussing over anything. The ability to fly out to Vegas to see Usher. Usher, I was looking for you. Don't play with me, Usher. Because I'll be in your bushes too, dog. For that one, I'll be in your bushes, Usher. I'm just saying. Ain't no Keke Palmer coming over here. But let me get back to it. The reason why all this matters, why you need a strong foundation, is because the man that you make a child with will have to guide, lead, and mentor your family. The woman that you create a family with, that is your wife one day, or a long civil union, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. Families are what we need more than anything. The person that you choose to have families with has to lead your children and your household into the next generation. It was a video coming over, y'all. I'm going to try to share it to my screen, of a young girl, had to be a little child, y'all. Now, this little child has no idea what she's doing. Definitely inappropriate, where she was bending over to dance in front of her father. And her father did the right thing in correcting her. And people had a problem with how he spanked her in an appropriate area. I was always told back, lower butt, thighs are appropriate. Never head, chest, anywhere like that. He did the right thing. Why did he hit her without having a real big thing? And why did he hit her without explaining what he meant? Well, number one, he probably was frustrated. And with his frustration came an honest and father-like reaction. He didn't hit her multiple times. He didn't. He spanked her leg, made her move, and she cried away. The young girl was inappropriate. Forgiving her, she's a child, she doesn't know no better. The father reacted swiftly, appropriately, and in due time he could sit down and let her know why that behavior is not cool. Number one, what is she watching to see that behavior being acceptable? Who is she watching? What does she see on TV? What has a mother got on while she's around her to think that body language at her young age is acceptable? Promoting child promiscuity among children is disheartening. It's inappropriate. It's not cool. Children in any sex should not even be discussed. Let children remain innocent. The father understood that. The father must always understand that our mind is on safety, security, and financial reasoning. The father understood that this child may not understand what they are doing, but the habits and the dancing procedures are completely out of pocket. You are dancing like that for what? You think that's cool? No, it's not. No, it's not acceptable. We need people to tell children to be their parents. As somebody that's been in education, as somebody that's in education, as somebody that deals with kids, coaches them, works with them. Kids like to be coached, y'all. Kids like parenting. Kids want structure. Children, teenagers want parents. They don't want friends. The reason why they need the structure, they want to be loved. The reason why there are so many parents that do not care about their children. The children that act out behaviorally are speaking out about how they are not getting love from the parents they should. That's what they're doing, y'all. Their behavior is speaking out. I do not get the love or the support from my family, so I'm acting out just so I can get some attention. Another great example of that, y'all. Remember, 2 lives ago, dang, I'm rolling, ain't I? I'm rolling. I'm rolling. 2 lives ago, I did a movie review on the movie Who Cloned Tyrone. It was an outstanding part in the movie. Most people might not have kept. In the movie, Tyrone was talking to his mother at the door, asking her did he want a sandwich. The mother didn't even open the door and said, "No, baby, I'm good." What most people don't realize that was so iconic about that scene and film in the movie is that this is what mostly happens in communities where parents do not parent their children. Who Cloned Tyrone was alone virtually. He was by himself. He had very little interaction with his mother outside of a "do this, son," or "you need to do this, son" type of attitude. He had very little direction, guidance, love, caring, structural feedback. You can see from how his body language was that he was strikingly wanting that. Children that grow without direction want and perceive that. And what we need more than anything, specifically, I like to say in Black America, is that we have a lot more of our children that need the structure. They need the hard teaching. They need the hard coaching. And the reason why is because when you get out in this real world, this racist, phobic filled world, no one will care about your feelings. No one will care about your understanding. No one will care about what you're going through. It is your job as a parent to prepare them as best you can for how the real world is. The real world is not going to be nice to them. The real world is not going to be understanding that you got a flat tire before you came to work. The real world is not going to be understanding. The real world is going to be harsh, swift, canning, direct. They will fire you. and they don't care about what you're going through. Parents, lead your child in that direction. I didn't understand, y'all, referring back to me, when my father would be rude to us. Not rude, but rude in my young mind of thinking. My father was very honest. He didn't hold our hands. He said, son, go cut that grass. Dad, can I play the game right now? Cut the grass when I tell you to, not when I ask you. Yes, sir. You know why I'm telling you to cut the grass? Why, Pops? Because some people going to tell you to do your job and not going to care about your opinion. But Dad, I can't say nothing. No, son, you can't. Sometimes when you work, when you're doing something with your job, until you get your own business one day, you got to follow directions. Pops was right. Working at these jobs, different corporations, different city, different state to state, people want high customer service. I don't care what your field is. People want to know if I pay you for something, you're going to do that job. Beyond, no opinion, no exception. You have to be excellent day after day. There is no middleman of, I can try this, we can experiment with that. No. People want to see the excellent service each and every time they go out. That is your job as a parent, to demonstrate, to show with understanding, to lead with understanding, and to direct them how the world works. Many of our poor, underprivileged children are ill prepared to deal with how the world works. That is why they struggle. I never said being a good parent is easy. And it's not easy to hear that you are a bad parent. I get that. But if another person is explaining to you that your child may need this, especially the teachers, social workers, they did this thing, y'all. And maybe I'm just a little bit biased because wifey is, I've done it. These people choose to want to help children. To some, it is a job. I do understand that, y'all. But to others that reach out to you and tell you how your child is acting, you must understand that they're speaking at it from a different level, a different perspective. You know how your child is. You know that your child has problems. You know that your child is disrespectful. You know that your child needs help. Avoiding the problem doesn't make it go away. Not discussing your issues does not make it go away. I'm going to step on some toes right quick. I'm going to say a saying that we hear a lot. What happens in this house stays in this house. This may hurt me more than you. Do as I say, not as I do. I love you, that's why I'm telling you this. Listen, I'm your parent. No. Kids do not learn that way. If you want them to read, you must read. If you want them to be respectful, you must be respectful. If you want them to lead with understanding and a good mindset, you must have a good understanding and a good mindset. If you want them to follow directions, you must give directions and follow them clearly. Parents, right now where we are in this society, I don't think we have a learning problem. I think we have a parent directly shortage problem. Right now, I know that parenting is not easy. I know that it's not simple, but we need more family structures like that father did with his young daughter in that video. We need that ability to coach our children hard, love them hard, lead them hard, respect them hard, and make sure we guide them hardly. The reason why I think all this is important, y'all, is that we need to fully embrace how this environment is completely different now. The world is different. I understand that. Meeting children from teenage years, you will see how the world is different. Number one, socially, they were raised to be more isolated and online and Zoom stuff. So they're missing a lot of that social capabilities. For example, in the past 3 years, this group of students growing up, a lot of them have gap years as far as education gaps, home gaps, and still the financial looms are still there. So we are seeing a gap amongst that. But to close that gap, it should be an overdrive on parenting and how decisions need to happen. Period. We see the gap. We know the gap. Now it's time to bridge the gap. You follow what I'm saying? We know the gap is there. We know the interest is real. What we don't know is how we can overcome those barriers. Number one, acknowledge your problems. In my family, y'all, we were taught, and this is the one thing I say never about my parents and my family. We don't talk about our problems. We don't. We can cuss, we can fight, we can disrespect each other, but we never talk about our problems. If we got a problem, we're just not gonna talk about it. Act like it don't exist. So if I cussed you out 2 weeks ago, I'm not gonna apologize to you. I'm just gonna talk to you and say, cuz you good? I'm not gonna apologize for what I said. I'm not gonna think back and say I was wrong. I'm not gonna say what I did was completely out of line and I need to forgive you to know that I can rebuild our relationship. No. I'm just gonna disrespect you and you got to deal with it. That's how I grew up. Now, of course that's wrong, right? As a grown man who has had to unlearn all those habits, I understand that's wrong. But we must have that sympathy to understand that some of our younger generations are still currently dealing with that to this day. The unlearning, which is called a lot, right? I say it to my wife all the time. You have to unlearn those habits. So you must unlearn the mindset that it takes a certain amount of way to do this because it's different. Now, once you understand how you can unlearn, then you can give us steps to what the children can do to unlearn those steps. Because remember, what you may appear as disrespect cannot be disrespect to me. It could be normal. My normal growing up, y'all, this is me, King Crowd, talking. My normal growing up was cursing, fussing, fighting. We love each other hard, but we disrespect each other hard. That was normal to us. I didn't know that it was a problem with how I spoke, how elevated my voice was, until I got my wife. She let me know, like, baby, we right here. Why are you yelling all the time? What you mean, boost the conversation? She said, nah, babe, you really yell when you talk to me. Oh. So I had to learn my 7 was other people's 12. My volume 7 was other people's 12. I had to learn as a grown man how to peer-to-peer communicate. Because in my family, we all holler. Whoever talks the loudest usually gets the conversation. Whoever dominates the conversation usually can lead the conversation. That's crazy that is to think about. That's literally how my family was. My family is who dominates the conversation, leads the conversation. That's how it was. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I can laugh, pivot, and see why that is funny. But you have to understand, some people have never done the work to understand why that is the way it is. So we just see it. We see it happening, but we virtually offer no changes from it. What we can do now from a standpoint of reflection in the adult world and giving it, you must literally provide the basic principles to change those habits. Once you provide the basic principles to change those habits, then you can see why all of these habits will have a lasting formation process towards us all. Man, thank y'all for watching this live with me today, man. Again, comment, subscribe, like to the channel. The 5th $5, did I do it right? $5 foot long. This is officially the 5th live, man. It has been such an incredible watch. And I just want to thank everybody that's watched into me, tuned into me, watched and loved the video. Number one, I hope you learned something historically, currently, or socially. So let's go ahead and reconvene everything starting from when the intermission happened, man. Number one, there is an age limit to go outside. If you are 35 plus, woman or man, please, your outside card should be revoked. It's for the young boys now. We had our time. The Jeezy, the Gucci, the Wayne era is done. Now it's Lil Uzi Vert, Playboy Cardi. Them boys are outside. NBA young boy, they outside. It is their era. Let them have it in peace, respect, and understanding. It's y'all era, y'all. I'm letting y'all have it. Number 2, a reasonable first date is ice cream. $300, y'all, fellas, she a liability. If I had to spend $300 to go out with you, you ain't the type of woman for me. I said it. If I have to spend $300 to entertain you, she is not my type of woman. Neither is she yours. Move on. No hard feelings, but you got to put yourself in a better direction. Throw her back to the streets, fellas. The streets. Next thing. Fathers need to discipline their children. Children need direction. Don't listen to that man. We need more good families, more good parents, and more redirecting. Remember, the basics are what the most important steps, foundation pieces for us in our life. Learn the basics, y'all. Master the basics. Master the thoughts and master the understanding. I know it may seem crazy, but your boy King Crowder wants you to smash that subscribe button. I want to thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for watching this live edition as we continue to grow and expand. Next live, hopefully, I ain't going to put it out there too early, but I want to say, I am going to try to make sure I can share my screen so I can show y'all what I'm reading. I think it's more impactful if I can show y'all the videos. I'm trying to interpret, but you know, IT, wifey out of town. That's IT, she out of town. So I'm learning how to work through these technical difficulties. I think this is an incredible live. This is an incredible moment. And I just want to thank y'all for tapping in with me. I seen a lot of people tuned in. I see my numbers growing. And it's your boy. I'm so humble and thankful. Cash out below. Subscribe below. Instagram, social media, TikTok. I'm on all of it. And we outside. Until next time, it's your boy, King Crowder. Signing out. Peace.